All right. This could be a small group. So I've got 2 hours scheduled. We don't have to go 2 hours. We can go as long as you want, either shorter or longer, but probably shorter since there's only 4 of you. We might pick up 1 or 2 strays as things move along. So how are you doing? What problems, let's start with problem solving. What problems can I solve? And let's start with, is your showstopper? Are you stuck on something? Something doesn't make sense. You can't get something to work. Something doesn't validate. You're confused about something. Let me answer those questions first. You're muted, I think, Gabe. Oh, no, you're not muted. I just see your lips moving, but I don't hear you. Blah, 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 blah. Do you have a question?
Can you hear me now?
Now I can hear you.
Okay. I have some questions. My site is definitely not finished.
Mm-hmm.
And I have some questions, and then I'd definitely be welcome to feedback. I don't know, do you want me just to ask the question first, or?
Sure.
So should I share my screen?
Sure.
Okay. Oh, what's going on here? Okay. I thought that was the right button, but apparently that's not.
You should be able to. I haven't disabled anything. You guys can do all. Oh, nice.
There it goes.
Oh, hey, there's the EDD.
Catalina Island or whatever that is.
All right, so here it is. This is. Can everyone see it?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
We can see your island. Is that what we're supposed to see?
Where are you in this picture? I don't see you.
All right, hold on. Here we go. Okay, this is better. I think I figured it out. Sort of. How do I get
Yeah, we're seeing your desktop image.
All right, let me try this again.
You must have a Mac.
Did it switch over to one?
I'm still seeing the Catalina Island, I think, or whatever island that is.
Channel Island.
Or
Some
Peninsula,
island.
or what it is. I don't know.
Looks like the Star Wars island.
The desktop I'm on. You know how you can have multiple desktops?
Oh, you know what? When you share, click on the one that just says desktop, the first one that says desktop.
What I did.
And we're not, so we're seeing your background picture. I don't see anything in front of it. Do you have something on the desktop?
How about now?
Same thing.
Let me try this again. Hold on just a moment.
Yeah, why don't you try getting out and getting in again?
All right. Screen sharing paused. Share. One. Stop share. Weird. Last time I tried this, it was pretty easy. Not secure. Sorry. Oh, maybe it's because I opened this. Oh, it's weird. Okay, I'm just gonna open this here. You know, I don't understand how this, I don't get the 2 desktop things. I have 2 desktops open. They both look the same to me, but the Zoom window will not. Like if I open Safari, it just goes to the other desktop, and then the Zoom window is in the other one.
So are you saying you have 2 monitors?
No, I don't even have to. I'm gonna try this again.
Because I have 2 monitors and that can be confusing, but if you only have 1 monitor, it should just be the one that says desktop. When you say start sharing and then you get the little icons, and usually it's the one in the kind of the upper left that says desktop.
Yeah, when I do that, so with only 1 monitor, it still gives you the option to have multiple desktops. I don't quite understand why.
Oh, really? I didn't even know that because I have multiple monitors, so I never thought about that.
Yeah, it's kind of silly because it doesn't do, you'd think it would like clean up your desktop and all that, and it really doesn't. Let me maybe start with someone else and I'll back out.
Okay. Who else has a question?
What?
I was saying who else has a question? Tony.
I'll go first with my presentation.
Okay, so you want to do a presentation?
Yeah.
Okie dokie.
All right. Let me share my screen. I've never done this before, my sharing screen before, so I'm gonna.
So you click on the green sharing button, and then you get presented with some options, and you want to click on the one that says share your desktop.
Okay.
That's the simplest way to do it. Then it just shares your whole desktop, and you can fill it up with your screen.
Can anyone see my, no,
Not yet.
not yet? All right. All right,
Oh, there
how
you
about
go.
now?
Oh,
We're good. Yeah.
Hey! Okay.
Yep, looks good. I see the bricks.
the bricks.
The bricks, which I won't be seeing for a long time at Carew.
Okay, here we go. All right.
Oh, yeah.
So this is my website that I made. I basically have a lot of art I've been doing for the past 13 years.
Mhm.
And so
Wow.
I decided maybe I should finally do a website to finally, put them up there. So as you can see, if we go to the first page, which is drawings, you see my drawings are right here. Then you go back on top. The next one, I use computer paint, and yes, it is Comic Sans.
I was just
I
gonna
thought
say.
it fits with this theme. That's why I
No,
picked it. It fits.
I'm not Beth Regards. I won't ding you for using Comic Sans.
Hey, I thought it just fit with this perfectly. So these pictures are all made from the paint program, just a regular paint program that
Nice.
usually comes with the computer. So that's what I used. And if you go to the next page, I got my first like advanced programming I got was Corel, which is I think it's Canadian based. I'm not sure. And I started playing with that. And this is I started just playing with there's just color paints and brushes. And if
Nice.
you scroll down, this is all I've been doing. And then to the next page, I started playing with photos and color contrast.
I see that.
So these are just all just colors and color contrast and saturations that I did. And to the next one. This is just regular photography, if I want to do like certain things and, just more photography. And this is also shows like a little preview of how grown up I went through or evolved in Corel. And I will go to the next.
So on the photo of the gem necklace, that's quite a bit fuzzy. Is that the effect you wanted for a photography presentation?
Well, yeah, because I took that pic years ago and the picture came out fuzzy. That's how it is. Because no matter how you zoom in or how much you make it big or make it small, it's still going to be fuzzy.
Right.
So if you look at the titles right there, or my little water print or whatever you call those things.
Watermark.
My little watermark, it looks pretty clear at the bottom.
Mhm.
It's my pic. I took this pic, I think shaking and just, it's the picture. And so I decided just to leave it there just to give it.
Okay. I mean, it's not, it's just, when you're showcasing photography, putting up a fuzzy shot is not what you would normally do. That's all. I was just wondering what
It's art.
It's
Yeah.
art. I think it's art. I thought it just shows imperfections, and the focus is on the jewel.
No judgment. No judgment. I was just, wondering if that was what you were trying to do or not. That's all.
It's our old eyes.
It was my old eyes.
No, it's really clear. It's just my eyes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just our eyes.
Okay.
And this is where I advanced in Corel, where I started understanding layers, more brushes, more colors, and more of what you can do, in Corel, which is kind of like, I don't want to say, it's kind of like Photoshop in a way,
Mhm.
because you get to crop and you get to, use different images to switch to, JPEG, PNGs. It reads just like Photoshop. I think it's just different. My last picture on the bottom, which is this Alice in Wonderland, that one was actually done when I was at CSUMB, where I was learning more about layers in Photoshop.
Cool.
So it was funny because I had Corel and Photoshop at the same time. So I was like, how coincidence. So that was sort of my sort of like a little
Well,
homage.
Corel, I think, is more to the creative the creative process of creating digital art. And I think of Photoshop as more of a photo editing tool. But I mean, you can use both for both,
Yeah.
but you know, slightly different focus. And I think for what you're doing, Corel makes perfect sense because it's a creative tool.
Yeah, because for this one, this beautiful sunset with the orbs, that was Corel, and then the bottom one was actually Photoshop.
That's funny.
So
I almost would have guessed the opposite.
yeah, and you could probably wondering now, it's like, how come these don't have names? I don't like to give them names because I don't consider myself as like an artist. So that's why I was like, well, I'll just say they're by me, and
You
you
can just
know,
say Untitled by Tony.
yeah, or I just put it like they're by me. So I was like, just leave it that way. And then, you know, what it reads right there is I started using myself as a using self-portrait. I grew up with Frida Kahlo, so I thought, well, I'll just use myself and use Corel and Photoshops and see what I can do. And you can look down, like both were from Corel, and I think one was from Photoshop. I'm not really quite sure which one is which, but you can tell, I use myself versus getting someone else because I just thought, I'll just use myself. Save money. Save. And now to our last page. When we're starting using our phones, I started using my phone a lot. So I don't know the name of the app per se, but I would just take random pictures and just just play around with color, contrast, and play around with certain graphics that they have on their phones. And I just go crazy with all these art things on my phone, and I make these little guys, on my phone. My mom thinks they're I think they're pretty. But yeah, these are my projects. And if you go to the next page, I have a go back button, and you go to my sitemap. Here's all my sitemaps
Oh,
with one
sweet.
of my favorite pictures is actually a flower when it was raining, so I thought it'd be cool for a sitemap. And yeah, that is it. Any questions or
Sweet.
feedback?
I got a few questions.
Okay.
Very sweet. Let's see. It looks like you're using copper plate.
Yeah.
And then there was the scripty font that we saw at first. I don't see it on this page. Wasn't
Is
it
this one?
Yeah,
No.
where it says photography and her buttons.
Okay, so that one too. So is that an installed font? Did you install that font?
No.
Custom font. Which font is that?
Script. I think Script.
Okay. It's a nice one. Okay, but then there was another one that's kind of like a hand-drawn chalky font. I can't remember where I saw that one. I was just looking at the fonts.
This one?
Yeah, that one. Is that something that you installed?
No, these are all from my computer. I did not install any fonts.
Well, it's in my okay. I was going to say it's in my computer too because I'm seeing it in mine, but I'm seeing yours. So yeah, that one's like a chalk. Is that called chalk dust or something?
It's chalk duster.
Chalk duster, yeah.
With each font in each page, I like to tell a story. Like from the beginning, it looks kind of childish, and then it grows up to something, pretty or evolved in a way.
Cool.
And I use copper plate basically as my quote, even though I didn't use a quote, HTML or a quote design. But I thought the copper plate just basically is sort of like a narrative from me. That's why I use copper plate, because it seems so simple.
And I noticed you got a very nice, simple vertical axis, generally a one column. So I'm sure this looks pretty nice in the phone.
Yeah, I tested on my tablet. It looks really good.
And have you thought of pulling the width in a little bit?
Not Well, the width of the pictures or the width of
No, the width
the
of the whole page, so the text doesn't stretch out quite as much. So just put an overall maximum width on the page.
on the page?
Yeah.
No, because I just thought maybe people just like the color.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
maybe they just want to, because I put it right here. Because if you can see on the bottom, that's where the
Mm-hmm.
excuse me, the valids stuff are on the bottom.
And you got the accessibility links on each page?
Yeah, it's right here
Good.
with the site map. It also has a go to the top, and they're all in the different fonts too, because I thought it gives it each page a personality.
It does. Cool. And can I go up to, let's go up and see your menu for a second. Okay, all right, you've got the, it changes.
Oh, you mean the home page or the menu?
Yeah, I wanted to see what the home page meant. Well, just the menus in general. So I want to see, does the home page one, the one that has 3 buttons?
Okay, so here's the home page with
Oh,
all the.
there, that's right. You did it that way. That's what I was remembering. Now that yellow on the white is a little tough for me to read.
I can change the color.
Yeah, so I'm just, minor suggestions.
If you
looks-
can she outline the font?
Well, yeah, it looks like that's what you did on the red above it. It looks like you put a little bit of a drop shadow
A
effect
shadow.
to
I did.
highlight.
For all my pages, because that was a new technique I discovered, is I used a shadow to make, if people can't read that well, for any age, or if the color is too bold, I use the shadow thing so the text can sort of read better.
Right.
So
CSS for that?
just for this part, but I can probably add shadow to the.
I think you have to because it's
Yeah, because
really
it's
hard
on
to
the
see.
chin. It's hard to read on the chin.
Okay.
Yeah.
Either that or pick a different color. It's hard when you want to put a light color against a dark background and then your list fades into light background. So I run into that problem all the time.
The tough part is that you've got the text in front of both the dark lips and the white skin, and so you're kind of screwed either way. So
That's why
that
the
makes it trickier.
outline. Yeah,
So
the
an outline might be cause for an outline.
Yeah, I could probably put a shadow and change the color. I'll play with
shadow.
that.
Yeah, play with that a little bit so the readability increases.
Okay.
The red on the face where the glasses is a little tricky at times too, although it's not as hard to read as the chin.
Okay.
Nice. Okay. You see in the bottom it says valid HTML5, valid CSS, accessibility sitemap. You could maybe put a dash or a bullet or something between those buttons, or a little space, just because they kind of blend together. Valid HTML5, valid access, accessibility sitemap. You know what I mean? So, we know what those things are because we're used to them. But if a user who didn't understand anything came to the page, they'd be, what's valid HTML5, valid CSS, accessibility sitemap? What is that sentence about?
Yeah, I can probably, maybe space them out.
You can do that a little. You've got,
I put an asterisk between mine.
You
Like
could
Sean
do that.
has.
An asterisk or a bullet. A bullet is an option 8 on the Mac. Are you on a Mac?
Yes, I'm on a Mac.
So whenever you're typing, just as an asterisk is a shift 8, it's easy to remember that the bullet is an option 8. And I find using bullets for lots of things easy just because I can remember it. It's like, oh, it's like an asterisk, but it's a option 8, not a shift 8.
What's an option? Is that little flowery button on the Mac?
No, that's the command key. Don't ask me
okay.
why it has a flower on it. Ask Apple.
See, that's the part I don't miss about the classroom setting because we're sitting in front of Mac. So
yeah, the option is more, the option is kind of like your Alt key.
Yeah. Okay.
And yeah. And I guess the command key is kind of like the Windows key. I don't know. The companies like to be different. But this is great. This is nice. This is clean and simple. Probably looks really good. I'm not looking at a phone currently, but it probably looks really good on a phone is my guess, because it's
nice on the iPad. The backgrounds are slightly different shades than my computer. But I'm on an iPad and on a PC, Windows based.
Yep, it looks like you did a nice polished job. And you took advice by keeping it simple so you didn't get stuck in the details.
Yeah, and that was my point because the object of my website and the final project was the drawings.
Right.
And I didn't know what to say. What I really wanted was to do kind of like a grid layout, but I didn't know how to do that.
You know, we didn't have time. Yeah, the grid, that's usually in the web publishing too, which we haven't offered for quite some time because the
Yeah.
enrollments never get a high enough for the more advanced classes. But web publishing 2 was mostly about layout and grids and flowing things. And so I couldn't really build it into this without taking out some other stuff that is just as important. So it was kind of tricky. But if you want to go a little further, there's a couple things you can do. Flexbox and grids is kind of the layout system that works really well for a lot of people. There's also what they call CSS positioning, which is very tricky to master, and I wouldn't recommend going there unless you wanted to spend a lot of time on it. But you can actually do a very low-tech grid based on what you already know with a series of consecutive floats.
Yeah, because I think with my drawings with this one or basically with all of them, I did the photo box or that one point that we learned about. I did that, and because doing it as a float drove me, and just by itself drove me nuts. Because it just kept on going left.
Yeah.
And I tried like, no, center. So I had to make a photo box to make it all just one.
Well, the concept of the container. I think we talked about this yesterday, or maybe we did. I'm in too many Zoom classes. I can't remember which class.
The buttons, which is
I can't remember which class I talked about which thing in. But the concept of a container or a container div is something that is really helpful. And that would be one way to pull the text in too, so the lines of text didn't get too wide. But if you put everything in a div box and you can still center the div box. And then depending on how wide or narrow you make the box, you would be defining how many columns were in your grid. And that can be variable so that when you do squeeze it down to the phone size, you're in a 1-column grid. But on a tablet, it might be a 2-column grid or a 3-column grid, depending on the orientation of the tablet. And a desktop, you might even get away with 4 of those size columns. You know, but that's up to how wide you want to make the big box that everything goes in. And then if you do it that way, you can every one of these photo boxes, right, would just be a float. And you would just say, you know, float right, float right, float right, float right on every one. And then they'll just flow to fill the screen as a grid. And then as you narrow the screen, you get fewer columns until you get 1 column. The other way to do it is to do CSS3 media breakpoints where you have a 1-column, a 2-column, a 3 or 4-column. I mean, that's pretty straightforward too. So you can always do that. So you actually know more than you think you know in terms of making a grid setup. Now for complex layouts, the tools it's harder to master the code. But simple layouts and simple grids, you actually can do those with consecutive floats and container boxes. And it's very low tech and it works in all the browsers really well. But you don't need to go there right now because you're done. But I just wanted to mention there are things you can do that you already kind of know how to do if you just put a few techniques together.
It might be too fancy, but you do have a different background for each one of the pages. And you could use that color as the link on your home page if you wanted to get fancy. I don't know if you want to get that fancy, but you know what I'm saying? Like if you click on drawings, the word drawings could be the color. That might be too distracting. I don't know. But you had such nice.
My goal was to have these like in a rainbow color, so you can match the page, just like almost like exactly what you said. But you know, I wanted to go for just not too simple, but because I felt this wasn't simple. This was actually really hard because each page has a CSS spreadsheet.
Oh, okay.
Well, except for this one and the sitemap. Those don't have a spreadsheet.
And actually, by having different background and color schemes on each page, that's actually quite a bit more work than just having the same CSS for every page. So you've actually done, you know, it's simple, but it's not
It
sketchy.
looks
I
simple,
mean,
but it's
It
not.
it
looks
looks
simple,
simple,
that's
but I
right.
know that you put more time into it than it looks at first glance, because each page has a different look.
Yeah.
And the easy way to do it that saves you a lot of time is to have each page use exactly the same styling. So no, what I'm saying is you didn't skimp. You kept it simple, but simple in the positive sense, not simple that you just tried to not do the work. I can see that. That was really good.
Yeah, and
It's
and that
neat.
was my goal, because I followed your rules when it came to the final project, like to keep it simple, like put some work in it, but keep it simple, and that's what I wanted to achieve, and I hope I did
You did, and I've seen the word simple doodling right there. I'm looking at the word simple. Yeah,
it.
simple's a good thing. What other comments or questions do you guys have?
I like the different backgrounds on the different pages.
Mhm.
And I think too, it reminds me of my site, which you'll see, in that I was thinking of when you say design for the phone first, um, I think that's or the mobile. I think that's kind of, I, I know we're looking at this here, but if we were out and about, we'd be looking at it on some other device. And it looks really nice on my iPad.
Yeah, it's very nice. Good job.
Yeah, I tested on my tablet. I like the simplicity. I actually like it. So I was like, I did a good job, like a pat on the shoulder on the back.
Yeah, the thing is, if you keep it simple, then you can have enough time to kind of actually polish it. Where if it's more complicated, it takes more time to polish it. So
Yeah, I'll definitely fix the colors here, you know, maybe make it darker, maybe put a shadow on it. But other than that, I think it's mostly done, and it's pretty good.
it is good.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. And the crowd goes wild.
I'm gonna
All
stop
right. Thank you,
I'd,
Tony.
I'd throw my cat up, but I think she went
Good job.
outside.
sharing.
And is Gabe, did you figure out that screen sharing thing yet?
Yeah, I think so. I disabled the multiple screens.
Ah, okay.
Beneficial in many
You want
ways.
to
Let me see what I
go
can do.
for it?
Can you close
Sure,
your
please.
door, Aiden?
This is great. I love the projects. Oh, we're back to Catalina.
We're back. Where is that? Is
Yay.
that Catalina?
Really, it's not showing what's on my.
No, I see Catalina. That's it. I think it's Catalina because I think that's the Mac Catalina OS background screen.
Oh,
Yeah, so it's
So
not.
that's why I'm
showing-
assuming. Is it Catalina? Are you running OS whatever Catalina?
That's
Yeah.
exactly right, but that's not what I'm looking at. So that's really.
It's a very pretty picture of Catalina.
I don't understand
26
why.
months across the sea.
Okay, so desktop one, share. Yeah, I guess it's not going to work. That is really.
I don't understand.
And disable attending.
So when you go into share, wait.
Oh, it's
We're
you're
seeing it
getting
now.
there.
We're seeing it now.
Okay,
Getting
cool.
close.
What do you mean close? What are you looking at?
Well, you're sharing your screen, including the Zoom portion of it, which is usually not what people do, but that's okay.
Let's
In
see.
other words, we see the ourselves.
I just clicked on optimize for full screen video clip, but let me uncheck that because how about now? What do you see?
Now we just see your screen desktop picture, Catalina.
Interesting. Okay, I'm gonna have to do it this way, I guess.
Okay, now we're seeing the Zoom stuff on the screen.
But not the.
Nothing else.
I see the Zoom menu and I see myself in the corner, but that's all I see. Oh, now it went away.
Yeah, because there's this thing that I'm clicking optimize for full screen video clip, but that's not.
You must have clicked on something odd, because the default would be to share your whole screen. When you say sharing and then you get presented with a few options, and the one says your desktop, that's the one you want to click on generally.
That's exactly what I did. There's this little white window that comes up and it says portion of screen. Contents from second camera. Yeah, I don't, there's this thing comes up, share computer sound, and it shows my desktop. And
No,
that's,
no, no. So when you stay, okay, wait, here we go. I think this is going to work. It says you're
Yeah,
going to,
yeah.
this
Now
looks correct so far.
it just has to load.
Oh, just the screen picture again. Just the,
damn, I have no idea where.
just, we're just seeing that. Do you have any windows open on your desktop
Oh,
right
yeah,
now?
my Windows galore. It's a total mess.
We're not seeing them.
All right, well, I don't know.
I have an idea. So when you click on share screen, tell me exactly what you see.
So should I pause this one and start again, or should I just?
No, yeah. Get out of this and then click on the green share screen button, but stop after you click on that button. What do you see?
I see a window. It says Zoom. It's not a full screen window, and it's got oh.
Does it just say desktop in the upper left corner somewhere?
It says desktop, and that's what I've been clicking, and that's not showing up. That's what I've been using.
Okay, what else? What other options do you have?
There is Safari unknown, so I'm thinking maybe I should try that one.
Well, that will just give us the Safari window, but that would be good enough, I think.
Yeah, that's what I'm.
Okay.
Let's try it. Let me try that.
Yeah, mine said screen or Firefox.
It says you've started screen sharing, but I haven't seen it change to the screen yet. So. Oh, went away. Oh, now we don't even hear you. Oh, technical issues. No? Well, I've got an idea. Let me try something. You see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So Gabe needs to get his audio back, and then he can visit.
Oh, no, he went away. I was going to do it for him, and he could.
Maybe he's going to log back in so he can get his audio back.
Yeah, maybe that's what he's going to do. But I can run through his site while he comments.
Right.
I'll be his eye. I'll be his hands. There's the bricks. Oh, and so by the way, Tony, this is what I'm talking about. You see the white box? That's a div box container.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially, my pages all use the same width container so that the text doesn't get too wide and go all the way from one edge to the other, right?
Oh.
And so that's all I'm talking about in terms of a div container. So if you go to a page, then this never gets too wide. So I have a fixed width box, that's the white, with rounded corners, that's the border radius property. And then the background of the page is just the bricks, right? And the background of the box is white. So that way it stays centered, but it doesn't get too wide. Like I wouldn't want this text to go like from here all the way to the other side. It would be too hard to read. So you can just, that's just a standard div container. And that way you can center the container. You don't have to center the things within the container, you could, but you center the container so the container just stays in the center and doesn't get too wide. And you can have a minimum and a maximum width. This is fixed, right? That's fixed, but it doesn't have to be. I could easily change that to be minimum width, 400, maximum width 800 or something. And then it would shrink to a point or expand to a point and stop. I just have it fixed. And that way your simple layout doesn't look quite as simple, but it still is elegant, and it also gives you the opportunity for another background. But it's a different way of doing it. And so it's just a container box. But
I'll give
that
it a
said,
try.
yeah, you can give it a try. You just put everything inside a div, and then you put a width on the div and center of the div. I'm gonna, where was I? I was going back to Gabe's back.
Yeah, game's right here.
You're muted. Can we hear you if you're not muted?
Hi, sorry. I had to, and I installed an update. Maybe it'll work now. I don't know.
Oh, you want to try it?
Please, if you guys bear with me.
Okay, try it one more time.
All right, let's see here. Oh, you're sharing, so.
Well, I was going to share yours, and then you could walk us through it if you couldn't share your own.
I can't attempt to share while you're sharing, though.
Oh, I'm sorry. I have to stop.
No, that's okay.
Just too much
There you go.
sharing.
Too much.
Sharing is caring. Yeah, give it a try
Sharing.
one more time, and if this doesn't work, I'll just share it for you.
So now I'm seeing the same screen, but the desktop has like a caution symbol.
Uh-oh.
Open system. Oh, I see. I have to do a thing. Where did the system?
It's interesting because usually people just click on it and it kind of works, but you know, everything is different.
Oh, here we go. There's like some sort of privacy setting.
Oh, you had a privacy setting, so you're not sharing all your private messages on your screen.
Yeah, but I didn't set that. It just did it itself. Okay, here we go. Let me try this.
Ah, yes,
Drum
it
roll.
Yay!
All right, okay.
I think the privacy setting is just so you don't accidentally share your screen, but if you're wanting to share your screen, you really don't want that on. Yeah.
Okay, so here we go.
Oh.
No.
And then there's some Beatles.
Beatles.
So this is my webpage. Or my site rather. It's similar to I think the way Adam set his up. It was just sort of generic interests of mine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you can they're kind of self-explanatory. I do want to add text to these, but each of these images is a link. And I found adding, well, I'll just go through it and then I'll show you and then I'll tell you what's problematic that I see. So this goes to this site this page about chess, which I enjoy. Home goes back home. A little bit about my dog. This is some hobbies of mine, martial arts that I enjoy or used to. And then this is just about sort of interest in arthropods and invertebrates.
Those are our favorite topics.
Yeah, cool. Sitemap doesn't work yet. Just haven't created that yet. DM60 goes back to DM60. So that works. So I know this is really bare bones and simple, but I've got a sort of some kind of consistent layout, which I'm into. So I could, build a bunch of pages very easily and kind of have them follow into this format. I wanted to add a little text under these, but I realized I didn't do anything to make a grid. I just got lucky because these are inline elements or whatever, and they
Exactly. So they're just flowing naturally as a grid. Yeah. And if you compress the window width, do they flow underneath into one column?
They do in this browser. They do not say on my phone or anything like that.
They should work the same way because that's your basic responsiveness right there.
Well, my phone, I guess my phone, in the phone, it just looks like this screen.
Yeah, the iPad, they kind of go to the left, but in portrait, they almost.
Yeah, so this is another case where using the simple div container could center the whole grid instead of it being to the left. But but given that you've already got two columns, it's not as intense as if there was just one column that would be all the way to the left. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
the issue that I had though is when I started adding text to the images, I don't know if it's because I made them into links, it's harder to. I don't know if that's creating issues for me around using I forget what it was called, but essentially something to build a caption for the photos. I'm thinking maybe I won't make the images links and just I don't know because I think it messed with the formatting or maybe I'm wrong about that. But is there? Sorry.
So are you trying to put text like under each image?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you remember when we went through and I showed you how to do what I called the photo box code?
I don't remember that. It sounds, I've heard people
Because
talking.
that's exactly what this is about. You might have missed that one.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember, was that a Zoom thing or a
No,
not?
that was almost Zoom. I think it was what, lesson.
Was that in class?
Exercise 8.
So were we in Zoom at that point? I can't
No.
remember. Oh, okay. So it's not
I think we're
video.
just about there.
All right. So it's not videoed. Okay. That was.
But Gabe has it on his exercise 8 page. It's
Yeah.
when we put the photograph inside a box and then we.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right
But
here.
that's what you that would be a natural for this kind of a thing.
Yeah.
That's exactly the kind of thing I was trying to show you. So what that does is you're making basically a div box. You know, div is again just a generic box. You're just making a box, and inside the box goes the photo and the border around the photo and the caption and the credit, and then that what we call a photo box is the thing that makes up the grid, and then the text stays with the photos. And it's like, so everything's in a box, right? So instead of just a box with a picture of a dog, underneath the dog is the text and the photo credit, and then the whole box could have a border around it. And then that's modular so that you can just flow the boxes into
Does would that be impacted at all by using the photos as links? That shouldn't matter.
Nope, that's just, you can do it either way. That's just another little piece of code. So I have an example of that. Was that exercise like 8 or 9?
8. It was 8.
8. I actually, I can find that sample code, I think.
I think W3 Schools has something like that too.
Really? Oh, they stole my idea. Just kidding.
Okay.
Let me see if I can get to it. Because now, because you're sharing your screen, it's harder for me to find. No, that's okay. Why don't you keep going? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt your presentation. So why don't you keep going, and then we'll talk about it after your presentation. I'm sorry.
Okay. I mean, aside from essentially reading what I've written about these things, you know, I tried to keep the layout pretty clean and simple, using complementary colors and whatnot. The font is I loaded it, or
It's a custom web font, so you installed it.
I installed the font.
Yeah. Nice to know how to do that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's fun. It's cool.
You can use any font you want.
There's this weird little line right here.
Oh, let's take a look at that.
Yeah.
What the heck is that?
It's part of this. It's part of this. It goes to the chess one, I think.
Oh no, I see it between the other ones too. I see more of those dots. There's one down under.
It might be a margin or something.
There's a dot there
like
too.
Yeah, it has to do with
Whoa,
the
yeah.
margin maybe.
So we'll have to track that down. Oh, it's fun. I like mysteries. We'll track it down. I can tell you when we look at the code, I can tell you exactly what's doing it.
I'm glad it's fun for you.
Yeah. You know, we all have weird ideas of fun.
Sure. Yeah. I like to give.
He's like, sure, yeah.
It's like an Easter egg.
Yeah,
You
sure.
zoom in, it looks like a little smaller rectangle.
Huh.
So we'll have to kind of dig a little deeper in the code to find out what that is.
Okay. I'll just want to say real quick, I would like to add more. I might abandon the grid idea to just kind of keep it simple or maybe I'll essentially try the div and floats. The other thing,
if you just make each one of those a series of consecutive floats, like if each one is float right, then it becomes a natural grid, and then it's responsive because as you compress the window, the grid reflows. So just a series of consecutive floats is a natural grid.
And that's float right because.
Well, you can start. Yeah, I mean, you could actually technically do it either way, but if you position the first one in see like the chessboard, right?
Yeah.
You wouldn't say anything about that. You would just put that image there, right?
Okay.
Then immediately following that image, you have another image, and that image is a float right, which means it's going to float to the right of the image that is now on its left. And then you would do the same thing with the third image, which means it's going to float to the right of the dog. Oh, unless you move the window in which case it's going to drop down to where it is now under the chessboard. See,
That's kind of a nice way of doing it. So
it's very simple, and it's simple. And, I like the word simple, and it's elegant. And so the grid is just the product of multiple floats. So you're actually not making a grid. You're just making things float to the right of each thing. And so if your window is infinitely wide, it would just be one horizontal line. But as you move the window in, the rightmost thing will drop down to underneath the leftmost thing, and it would just keep, So it's so we'll look at that after your presentation too. I'll show you some.
Okay. And then I just want to say that I have a question, which is when is the latest we can submit these?
Friday.
Okay, the end of the day Friday, or just you want it by
midnight?
The end of the day is fine. Yeah, okay. But so I'm just giving you as much time as I can, and that's why I scheduled a bunch of sessions this week just to help you guys with finishing your projects.
Well, super appreciate it, because
I'm not into everything this semester has been such a cluster, whatever that let me put it this way. A lot of teachers are letting a lot of people slide on a lot of things.
Okay.
Because it's been a rough time for everybody, and we all know that. So, do your best work and do what you can by Friday.
Okay. Thanks, John. So that said, I may actually I may switch gears, and using the same basic layout, make the site about some of the work that I did during the semester, similar to what Gary did.
Mm-hmm.
Start building a little portfolio for myself. I think that's a really smart idea. So, that's basically it.
You did spell invertebrates wrong. I just want to.
Where's that? Where's that? Invert.
Yeah, it's an E. I looked it up just to make sure.
Ebrates. Invert ebrates.
At first, this said the myriad interest of Gabariel, Anjo.
Well, when you spell your own name wrong, you've got some dyslexia going on.
Yeah,
that's when you need to get up and go outside for a couple minutes. And
I need to do my text in Word first is what I need to do.
Yeah.
Well, be careful about that with web design because Word will add weird stuff to your text. So I would not recommend doing it in Word first. You can use Word for spell checking, but I wouldn't recommend using it for doing all your edits. But it reminds me of a joke. Reminds me of a joke.
Okay.
Did you hear about the dyslexic agnostic insomniac who stayed up all night wondering if there really was a dog?
Oh, God. There's a lot of that going on these days.
That's a good one. I'll try to remember that one. Like a tongue twister in a joke.
Yeah. It's just.
Could you put that on your resource page? That would be good.
Okay, cool.
Yes, it looks nice on my iPad.
It looks really pretty. It looks really, really good.
It's simple and clean and elegant. Does the job. Can you scroll up? Okay, so again, on all these, that concept of the container can be helpful, and it's fairly easy to implement, where you just put the whole contents of the body inside a div, right? So you've got your beginning body tag, right? And then you've got your H1 and blah, blah, blah. So just after the beginning body tag, you start a div, and just before the end of the body, /body, you end the div. So the div is just immediately inside the body. And then the div is your container for everything, just like the body is now, except when you put the div in there, you can then put a width on the div.
What about a margin on the body?
Oh, you can do that too, and you should. You can do, you can do margin and or padding. But if you do the div box container, then you don't need to do that because now that's the div that's making the div is now what you do all your styling on and not the body. So and you can give the div a width, you can give the div padding, you can give the div margin. But if you center the div and you give it a width, then you automatically kind of have a margin. You don't have to add one. So it's an interesting way to go. For a simple layout, it works really well. Cool. We already clapped, right? Clap, clap, clap. All right.
Clap for me when I
I'm so glad that you finally figured out the screen sharing thing.
Yeah, that's the best part.
So let me see. I'm going to stop the share, or you
Right.
can stop the share. Let me see.
Yeah,
I
let
can
me
do
stop
something.
that. Thanks, guys.
All right, there you go.
Does Gabe get extra credit for knowing how to do the sharing for the Zoom?
5 points for that.
Let's see. How do you think about that? But what I want to do is find, let me see if I can find my example code for the photo box real fast.
Oh, and we were going to look and search for that little weird.
Oh, the dots. Yeah, yeah. Okay, give me a sec here. I'm going to look for, first I want to see if I have, because I thought I had it easily accessible. I hope I do.
I'll be right back. I'm going to hit the head real quick.
All right, bio break. Okay.
Bio break.
Let me find Caprio classes. DM1, DM60. Too many classes. Oh, darn, it's not where I thought it was. Oh, there it is. Wait, was it exercise 9 or 8?
8.
I have exercise 8 examples. Let's see if this works. I need a browser. All right. I need a new window. Oh, I hate slow computers. They're such a pain. All right. Now I lost
But
my.
we all are using them now.
Yeah.
This is how Terminator's gonna happen. They're gonna come against us in 20 years.
This
I'm
is
ready.
quite, the whole scene, this is quite exceptional.
I think unprecedented is probably.
This is pretty historic. Well, I've been reading a lot about the Spanish flu of 1918, 19, yeah. And it does seem similar to that. Okay, I found my sample. So let me share my screen. Now I have to, where's the button? Oh, I'm covering the button. Ugh. Zoom is weird.
Start that again.
But okay, so now, can you see my screen?
Yes.
See your screen.
Okay, so here's an example of what I was calling photo box, right? So you see how there's a photo. Underneath the photo is a credit. Underneath the credit is a caption. The whole thing has a border, and the box is floating with text around it. So setting up a photo box like this is handy exactly for the kind of stuff that you were looking at, Gabe, because you've got the images, and maybe you'd want to put a caption with each one, maybe even a credit with each one, and maybe a border around the whole thing, not just the photo. And then the box itself becomes the object that you can move and flow text around it, so forth. So to do that, let's look at two things. Let me show you the HTML. And that's just a standard float. The box is just a standard float, and the text flows around it. And that's a float left, as you can see. And I'm waiting for my brackets text editor to launch. And then if we do a series of consecutive boxes with consecutive floats, it's a de facto grid. And it's a responsive grid to boot, which is extremely nice. It's a super low-tech way of doing a grid layout that's responsive.
I don't think we have access to that. Is that in your student demo site?
You know,
Because when I look at the demo site, that's not there.
It's not, and I can put it online.
I saw that. I saw that on the YouTube. That's what I did for my webpage.
I didn't put that on YouTube. Huh.
Yeah, maybe we were zooming by then.
Oh, maybe we were zooming.
Yeah,
okay.
it might have been our first.
Oh, so it is in a Zoom. Okay, so Gabe, there's a Zoom you can watch. I don't remember which class it is, but it was probably just before the stuff hit the fan. And okay, so let me get my exercise 8 HTML. Let's see, this should open up. I'm using bracket. I usually use Text Wrangler, but Text Wrangler doesn't play well with Zoom.
Aiden, I'm on a call.
So I'm using brackets, and brackets is not opening up my HTML file. Why not? What is this? What's going on here? Let's try this again. brackets is not playing well. Oh, you know what? It's just really slow or something. What's going on? What's going on with brackets here? It's like frozen or something. Wow, it's really slow. Okay. Let's try a open. Oh, I think my computer is chunking a little too slowly here. That's what's going on. It's taking this long to open. Okay.
Use Cruise.io, John?
Yeah, but this is my computer, not my internet. This is just what's happening on my desktop. For some reason, okay, quit brackets, go away, you suck. Okay, I'm gonna do this in Text Wrangler then, because I know Text Wrangler will work, and I just won't be able to increase the font size. Brackets seems to be frozen. Or maybe it's my computer itself. Let me do a force quit of a couple things here. Oh, I can't even do a force quit. Oh, great, it's my computer. You guys are still seeing me, right?
Yes,
Yes.
we can still see you.
Oh, I have a lot of stuff open. Okay. Yeah, let me force quit FileMaker Pro while I'm in here. Okay. Force quit Text Wrangler while we're in here. Okay. All right, let's try this again. What I want to do is show you the code, which this should be relatively simple. Let me see, brackets. Okay, brackets, don't crap out this time. Hello. What's its problem? Oh, it's just taking a long time to load. Okay.
There you go.
All right, that's what I wanted. Okay, so, wow, brackets is really slow here. Come on. It's not going to stretch out yet. Okay, good. So, so we start with you create a class called photo box, right? So now here we have an image, right? That's just the basic image. That's the image of me with the mask, right? There's our basic image. And the image is inside of a div with the class, I'm sorry, the image is inside a div with a class of photo box. Actually, before we go there, there's two divs. Okay. There's two divs in the div. So
I think you have 3 divs in the
it's
div.
3 divs. Yeah, it's okay. So
You
let
have
me,
the credit and the caption
here's
inside.
the whole here's the whole div thing. All right, so let's take it from the image. So here's the image, right? And you see the image clearly. Now underneath the image, you see photo John Gofsky, right? That's another div, right? That div follows the image, and both the image and the div following the image, which has the credit in it, are inside of a div called, oh, I'm sorry, it goes all the way to, well, actually the whole deal goes all the way to here. So let's start at the top. Okay. There's 3 divs. Okay. There's 3 nested divs, right? So the image is in a, is in the div that's called photo box, right? The div that's the photo credit is inside the div called photo box. So the 2 divs, the div called photo box, which contains the image, and the div called photo credit, which contains the credit, are both in this div. Oh, I'm sorry, in this div, because the 3rd div is the div called photo caption. So the image is in a div, the credit's in a div, the caption's in a div, and those 3 things are in a div. Gosh, okay. And we're floating the big Uber div. So the CSS, can I just drag this into here? Or do I have to drag it to the logo? Where's my styles?
At the top of your page.
Oh, I did an internal style sheet. That's why. Sorry. It's all in one document. Here we go. So the photo box, let me clean that up. The class of photo box has a border style solid, and you can see that is the whole box. That's the border. The border width 1 pixel. The whole box is floating to the left of the text. The width of the box is 250 pixels wide. The margin top right, bottom left, top 0, right 18 pixels. That's this air here. Bottom, that's this 8 pixels here. And left is 0, so it lines up on the left because it's a float right. I'm sorry, so it's a float left. So if it was a float right, you would want to have the left side 0. Since it's a float left, you want the right side 0. Then the photo credit, that's this little guy here that says Photo John Gofsky in all caps. Text to line right, text transform uppercase, font size 0.7 em, so it's really small. Make it all uppercase and small. Then the caption is in italics, that's this here. The caption is italic and has very little margin space, just a little at the top to separate it from the credit. So when you put these three things together, you get what I call, you know, a photo box. And then you float the whole photo box.
Nice.
And, or not. I mean, you don't have to, I mean, this is just making the photo box. Then you can decide, do you want to float the photo box to the left or the right in whatever page you're on.
So if he put 2 of those in there and one floated left and one floated right, then you'd end up with 2 on each line.
Yeah, so let's check this.
Do it again.
Exactly. So
nice.
let's, so see that div there?
Yeah.
Let me go through these divs. That's just the validator buttons, right? So there's no divs here. So the whole thing is this right there, right? See that?
Yeah.
Now, I'm wondering why I have a double div. I don't think I need it. That's interesting. Let me just try something here. It looks like I don't need that div. Okay, let me just see if I break anything there. Reload. Oh. Okay. Undo, save, reload. There we go. Sorry, John. Yeah.
Phew.
Okay. That's weird. Okay, so I have the whole thing in a div. How interesting. All right, so watch this. Let's take this. I'm going to copy it. What happens if I just paste it right after itself? I'm not even sure what's going to happen here. Okay, now what happens if I keep doing that? Now, this is what I'm talking about. Well, you know what? Let's get rid of the text. So that we actually more clearly. Oh, okay. I wonder if I've just broken it. Let me just see. No, there we go. Oh, let me get rid of it. I'm just trying to keep it simple. So let me just get rid of all the stuff we don't need. Okay, so now it's just the photo boxes, right? And the headline. There we go. So this is what I'm talking about. It's a grid that's simply made up of consecutive floats. So, and of course we can center this too, but the point here is that it's a responsive layout and it's a grid. So all we're doing is a series of consecutive photo boxes, and they're all floating. Okay, they're floating to the left. It would also work if I said float right, by the way. But then at the very bottom, this one would be over here instead of to the left. So this is what I was talking about, a very simple way to do a grid with consecutive floats. And of course, if I also put the whole thing in a div and centered the div, then instead of that effect, you would see these three columns centered. So is that helpful?
Very.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
Gabe should tell you that. I thought it was helpful.
Now, what I'm going to do here is let me Command Z back to just the photo box. Undo the whole deal. Okay. And now if I save that and I reload, we're back to the original. I want the original just because this is a nice photo box example that I can upload for you guys. And so that I'm going to call photo box example. Just a second. And now I am going to duplicate that folder. Sorry, it's on my other screen. And this is going to be a float grid example. And so I'm going to close that. Actually, I don't need to close that. I'm going to then load this one instead, which is now fgrid.html. No, I'm not sure. This way I can upload this and you have the code. Okay, fgrid HTML. So let's see what this looks like. It's the same thing. Now this fgrid file, I am going to load the new CSS. Oh, the CSS is with the file. I don't have to worry about it. Okay, so now I'm going to do that consecutive float thing again. So we'll have two different coding examples. Oh, wait, that's not. What happened? Fgrid. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is get rid of all the text again. Save it. Okay, oh yeah, let's get rid of the validator buttons too. Oh, we can leave them. No, we can get rid of them. Actually, you see those validator buttons? Now, if you're doing a float and you don't want something to float next to it, then you do what's called a clear, right? So on this validator div, I'm going to give this an ID equals validator. And I'm going to save that. And then in the style sheet, I'm going to add a validator. Oops, it's a validator ID, not a class. So that's a pound sign. And we are going to say that the validator has a clear. So I'm clearing the float. Let me, and you'll see the example, what happens. Clear both. So what I'm doing is saying I don't want the validator links to float next to that image, right? I don't want that effect. I want the validator buttons to go below the image. So by clearing what's called clearing the float, what's this align self? Go away. I don't want that. You go away. By clearing the validator, it should then drop down underneath the image. So now the validator won't be interfering with the grid. Now, and anytime you're using floats, you always want to clear the thing that follows the last float so that it doesn't go up next to it. So in other words, you're stopping the float. Float activity stops at the clear because I don't want the validator buttons to be bouncing around with the rest of the grid. I want the validator buttons to stay at the bottom. So you just clear the float at that point, the floating stops. And so that's called a clear. Now, all I need to do here to do my fake grid layout, or let's call this let's call it a faux grid
John?
layout. Yeah. Yeah.
Why do you clear both? Why is that the?
It's safe. You only have to clear left or right.
Oh,
But
right.
both. So when you say clear left, it means nothing can be to the left of me. If you say clear right, nothing can be to the right of me. But I don't want anything to be on either side of it, so I clear both. So if you clear left, that will anyway. So it means clear both sides. In other words, don't let anything float to the left or the right of me. Is what it means.
I think you've explained that before. Thank you.
Yeah. But you could play with that. You could say left or right, and you'll see what the difference is depending on what's floating in front of it, whether it's left or right. So now I'm just going to duplicate that box again as if we want to make a grid. So that's really simple. All I need to do here is, let's see, was it done? Yeah. Copy, paste, 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 paste. Actually, you know what? Let me undo. I want to make it easier to read the code. Carriage return. Copy. Paste. Okay, I'll do it this one. Oh no, I didn't want to keep indenting it. Let me do this. There we go, that should do it. I think if I do that, no, I don't want the whole thing indented. It's because this stupid brackets program is indenting everything. There we go. Do not indent. Okay, we'll do that. Copy. I do not like this text editor. It wants to keep indenting.
Paste it above.
Actually, there we go.
Got it.
Oh, see, when I hit the return, it wants to keep indenting. I see why it's doing that. All right. So, just get rid of this. I just have to get rid of its indent each time. Ah. Oh, give me Text Wrangler back. It makes my job so much easier. I don't like it's a little automatic indent crap. Okay. Oh, except for this one. What the heck is going on here? I think it's there. All right. So I just wanted the code to be easy to read. So now you can more clearly see the blocks. Each one of these is a box. And I save that. And we go here and we reload. And now we have that grid layout effect, which is what you would call a fluid grid or a responsive grid. And there you go. So that's sample code on how to do that. Now, actually I should stop there and save that. So what I'll do is I'll upload these into my demo directory. New connection. Let's see, where's this? Where did you go? Where did you go? There it is. Kerchunk, 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 kerchunk. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. There we go. Because I have in the demo folder, you can get to this now when I put it in there. And because the CSS is included in the file, you don't even need, all you need is the image. Okay, so let's see, where are we here? Home. Is that our class? DM60, yeah. DM60 student,
That's you.
public HTML. Is there already an images folder in here? I can't remember. There is inside images. I'll put the image. There's nothing in the images folder, so now there's John with mask. Save my recording. I didn't stop recording. Did it stop recording?
No, it still says it's recording.
Okay, don't know what that's about. I don't know, I have too many Zoom sessions. I've been in back-to-back Zoom sessions all day. Okay, so now there's the image, so that the image is in the images folder. And we'll go back to the public HTML. And there'll be two things in there. That's the F grid. And then the other one, oh, did I blow out the other one by mistake? Oh, shit. Oh, no, photo box example. There it is. I'm going to call that photo box. Photobox.html, and we'll put that there. So now, if you go online and browser window, please.
Oh, it's there. Yay!
And if we go to TJ, we go to student sites, we go to demo. And there's no index in here, so you can actually see all the files. And so if you go to photo box, there's the photo box. And if you go to F-grid, there's the grid example. So now you have sample code that you can you can just copy and paste and change the things. That should make it easy for you. So you'd go in here and obviously you know change this for to your own liking. But now you have the basis of the code to do both a simple grid layout with just consecutive floats and the photo box building block in the first place. How's that? Will that help you?
Yes.
Okay, sorry that took so long. All right. Wow, you've all done your presentations.
Not
What
me.
other questions? What other?
I haven't done mine.
Oh, you did one in the other class, right? Do you want to do one now, Rebecca, or no? You don't have to do it.
Okay. No, it won't take me long. I was almost finished anyway, so you can have me share my screen. I was almost finished. I still need to put in my photo credit statement.
Well, do you want to do it tomorrow or the next day or the next day? I mean, it doesn't have to be
Whatever.
today.
I can do it then.
Because if you're not quite finished, we can end now and then we can pick this up because we've already gone.
If it's easier for you, that's fine. You've probably had a long day. And
Hey, what about that little thing?
Well, we haven't taken a break yet, and it's been an hour and a half. So I was thinking maybe we should either end or oh wait, I forgot. Gabe had that little dot. Why don't we do Gabe's dot? We'll figure that mystery out.
And I'll wait till the next session.
Okay, and then we'll do yours tomorrow. Okay, or whenever you come back. Okay.
Cool.
So let's do Gabe's dot, and then but before we do that, so you guys, any questions on the photo box technique or the floating grid technique? Okay, so you can just grab that code out of the demo folder and modify it. And I think just by looking at the code and playing with it, you'll see how it works. I tried to make it very simple for you. Okay, so now we're gonna look at this weird dot. So to do that, let's see. I'm not sharing my screen yet, am I? Okay, so let's let me share my screen. And I like little mysteries like that. Share screen. Desktop 1. All right, hopefully you can see that. this was final. And oh, did you see that little flicker of the dot? It's actually a link. What happens if I click on it? Where do I go? Oh, it's a link.
I think it's a corner of a margin or padding or something.
Well, actually,
Or
it's
a print.
it's a link. Where's this one go? Oh, how
And there's two of
interesting.
them.
Yeah, how interesting. That's really weird. All right. So I'm going to start by looking at your, okay, I'm going to start by looking at your code. Now, you know, the first step of anything in terms of troubleshooting is your code all valid?
It is.
We're about to
Code
find
is
out.
valid.
Psh, good job. All right. So let's look at the source code. I want to see if there's anything weird. Okay. So it's a very simple source. You've just got links with images.
I did have a similar thing happen on my image links, and it's because the border had a solid line, and I noticed in Gabe's CSS he does have a solid border on his images, and his are different from mine, but that's I got rid of the solid and suddenly they were the little dot went away. But it might be a different problem.
Now that's an image to chest. That's a link to chest.html. That's a limit. Okay. So this dot is connected to this link.
It sure is.
So that takes me there, and the dot takes me there. Interesting. And this dot
Goes to martial art.
goes the same as the picture. Interesting.
You think it's the image hover in the CSS?
Well, that's what they're related. That's what I'm looking at here. So let me try something here. This is going to be interesting. Let me blow this up really.
It's like a blue line. It's gone.
Yeah.
When I do that on the iPad, it's a big blue line. Not
That's
big,
what I'm
but
looking
it's
for.
definitely a blue line. It's a phantom.
Oh, we'll have to look at the CSS.
Is your hover border color that blue, Gabe? Because
No,
it's a different color.
it shouldn't be.
Okay, you got a 20 pixel margin on the image. That shouldn't affect only a 3 pixel padding. The border's not doing it. Just want to take a quick look through here. It's very simple. Oh, okay. This is your font face. Margin, border. I'm not seeing what's causing it. This is weird. Nothing here would do it.
Wait, go down? Why is there 2 paddings on this list?
I'm sorry, where are you looking?
Right there, where this is the LIA right here?
Oh, right here.
Yeah, there's 2 paddings.
Well, there's top and bottom and left and right.
Okay.
Or left and right and top and bottom. Which order is it? One is left and right and one is top and bottom, and I can never remember which one comes first because I always do top, right, left, bottom. Top, right, bottom, left. So yeah, that's okay. Text iteration none removes the line under the link for a list item. But the image.
The images used to be in a list.
That's it. That's it. It's probably a list thing.
It used to be in a list.
My
you-
images started out in a list and I had the same problem.
Oh, wait a second. I've got an idea. Let me look at your HTML again. I love the validators because I can use them to look at the HTML. It's easier than, this is just a super easy way to look at your HTML is using the validator buttons. I find it very handy. Where are your images? But they're not in a list. Oh, your images are not in a list.
No, they used to be. I was wondering if there's like vestiges of that code. Also, I had the class.
No,
center.
however, let me just see. Image. I need to actually look at the real. Oh, wait a second. Okay. I need to look at the actual file. Which number are you? You are, it ends in 556.
It's 656.
I'm sorry, 65. Sorry, dyslexia.
Oh, that's all right. Yeah, I could barely remember my.
656. Which one is it? 656.
He's like fourth or fifth.
There it is. Yeah, thank you. 656. Which page are we on? Index?
Yeah, it would be the index. For the final though, not the.
Yeah, we're in the final folder. Okay.
Oh, gotcha.
I think it's this one. Oh, good old brackets. All right. I don't see anything that cause it. In this text editor, where does it show me invisible characters? Usually it's under the view menu, and of course in this text editor it's not. Not seeing it. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to eliminate spaces. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but sometimes spaces. So in other words, it could literally be a link under a space. And if you're sloppy and you have spaces as you do, sorry, I'm not calling you sloppy.
Hey. No, it's all good.
For example, if you have like a space there, or if you have like a space there, you see, your link actually includes a space. Mm-hmm. So my guess is that these little weird extra spaces could actually be the cause. And I don't know for sure, but I'm going to save all the, oh darn, I can't change your,
You want me to clean it up real quick, see if it does? Yeah,
see if you can do that, because I can't actually do that. I can't upload into your space because I'm not you. I don't think
gotcha.
it'll.
Yeah, I will do
let me just. I don't think it'll let me, but let me try.
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't have permission. Yeah.
Okay, I'm doing this real quick.
So I don't know if you saw what I did, but I essentially just removed all the spaces
Yeah.
between inside the anchors.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Anything between in the anchors, I removed the spaces.
In the anchor.
Yeah. So there should be no spaces anywhere between the tags. Like there can't be any
Oh, yeah,
space there or like there. You see?
Yep. Just about to finish that one. Also, I have this leftover class center. I don't even know what that's from. That doesn't need
Where is it?
It's in the two bottom links, the two bottom images links, not in the link, but in the.
Oh, so you have a center class?
Yeah, and it doesn't do anything.
We should get rid of it. You probably put that in there a long time ago because you created a class to center something and then you forgot about it. Yeah.
Let's see here. I think that is all right. I'm going to save that.
But it wasn't on, it was on the chessboard and something else, right?
Yeah.
Martial arts.
So that's the index one.
And the chessboard doesn't have the center, so the center is not.
It's not the center. Yeah.
It's not the center class. I'm not even sure what's in the center class.
Yeah, that did it, John.
But it doesn't appear to be that.
I think it was the spaces because it's gone now.
Let me refresh the page. It was the spaces. It was the spaces. Yeah. So I know that. Yeah, that's exactly right. It was the spaces. So
Interesting.
because so in other words, there was a space literally probably after the image before the end of the anchor on the chessboard and the other one. So there was probably a space right there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so because the anchor defines the link, which means the link is everything between the anchor and end anchor, which means the link is the image. Oh yeah, and the space following the image. And that tiny dot was literally a line underneath a space that you couldn't see anything because it was a space, but you saw the little tiny line. And because the space character is very narrow, the line looked more like a dot. And so
Don't do
a lot
that.
of times I tell my students, clean up your extra spaces because they're
Yeah.
just messy and they can cause weird things. This is exactly the kind of thing I was talking about. So a lot of times people they get sloppy with spaces, and they do this kind of stuff. They do this kind of stuff, right? And I tell people, wait, your headline is not Space, the Myriad Interests of Gabe Space. It's, without the spaces. And so, no, your link isn't, space, image, space. Your link is the image, right? So people just think spaces are nothing, but spaces are actually a thing. So it's one of those weird examples of like 90% of the time, little excess spaces don't really do much. But once in a while, a little space can cause weird shit to happen, especially when you're talking about links. Yeah. So.
I was just saying I have no idea how those spaces got there.
Well, that's whatever. It's just everybody.
Yeah.
It's easy to hit spaces between things, but so that was my hunch, and it turned out to be right that it was the spaces. Because when I looked at the code, I didn't see anything else causing it. And I couldn't even see the spaces at first until I started removing those carriage returns and then could see where the spaces were. So there's a lesson there in cleaning up things. And I don't know this text area very well, but in Text Wrangler, you can say view invisible characters and you see the dots for spaces.
Oh,
and somewhere in this text editor, I am sure there's a place where it says show invisible characters, and it's not under the view menu, which is the place I would normally think it would be. So it's somewhere else, but somewhere in a setting or something, there's the way to show invisible spaces. And God, really does it as a style sheet, whatever. Anyway, I'm not gonna worry about it right now. Okay, we clean that up, very cool. And so you can, if you wanna try to adapt some of that code to put captions and so forth, and or float this more as a grid, a floating grid, whatever. You can do that based on the code I just put there in the demo folder. And so if there's more questions, I'll answer them. But since it's already 4:38, I'm thinking we should probably end this puppy, and maybe I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Cool.
I just want to say I won't be able to make it tomorrow. Tomorrow is my grandmother's 100th birthday.
Wow,
Yeah.
that is super
Congratulations.
Yeah, I'm so excited. She's on hospice,
cool.
which is,
Aw.
I mean,
Hey,
but-
100, that's admirable.
Yeah.
but because she's on hospice, I am allowed to visit her. So
Okay.
Okay.
Is she
Well,
local or do you have to go very far?
she's in Danville.
so you got a bit of a drive.
A little bit of a drive, and then we're gonna have, and she's only allowed one visitor at a time, and I'm the lucky guy
Oh,
that gets to be with her on her 100th birthday, and we're gonna have a Zoom party. So
Oh, that's really sweet. Well, that's really sweet. Tell her that your teacher wishes her happy birthday.
all right, I'll tell her.
And
the rest of the class.
Yeah.
yeah, and so but anyway, Gabe, this looks good. So you can do a little cleanup on it. But good job. And we will see you guys later. And maybe not Gabe tomorrow, but maybe the rest of you.
Well, have a safe trip.
Thanks, and thanks for your help, Rebecca. Also, you're really sharp. I just wanted to say that you're really paying attention, and I'm impressed with how much you're with it.
I don't know how that happened. I never studied any of this stuff. It's just self-taught.
Cool. Nice.
So we do what we can.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, bye everybody.
Okay,
Bye,
folks.
Tony.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, John.